The October sun streamed through the windows of Emily's Manhattan apartment, illuminating the navy blue dress she'd chosen for tonight's party. At 27 years old, Emily Carter had achieved what many only dream of. After years of hard work as a software developer in Silicon Valley, she'd sold her startup to a major tech company for a life-changing sum. $3 million sat in her bank account, waiting for her to make the right decisions. "Honey, are you ready yet?" Her mother Sarah's voice echoed from the living room. "Your father's getting antsy, you know how he is." Emily smiled as she put on the pearl earrings her grandmother had left her. Tonight would be special. Her family had organized a celebration at the Magnolia Hall event space to honor her success. Everyone would be there: aunts, uncles, cousins, childhood friends. This was her moment to shine, to show everyone that the shy girl who locked herself away with computers had conquered the world. What Emily didn't know was that while she was getting ready with such excitement, at that very moment, in the family home's kitchen, the cruelest betrayal she could imagine was being orchestrated. 3 hours before the party, Sarah Carter, Robert Carter, and their son Jake gathered in the kitchen. The door was locked, curtains drawn. On the wooden table lay a manila envelope, several legal documents, and a small vial containing a clear liquid. "Are you sure about this, Sarah?" Robert asked, his hands trembling as he held the vial. "She's our daughter." "She's your daughter," Sarah corrected coldly. "I raised her, gave her everything, and now that she has money, what does she do? Talks about moving to New York permanently, investing in God knows what nonsense. That money should belong to this family." Jake, 24 years old, remained silent, staring at the documents. They were powers of attorney, bank transfers, investment documents. Everything ready to be signed. They just needed Emily's signature. "Mom's right, Dad," Jake finally said. "Emily's always been selfish. When we were struggling to pay bills, she was in her computer world. Now it's time for her to share." "This isn't sharing," Robert murmured. "This is." "What is it, Robert?" Sarah moved closer to her husband, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of greed and contempt. "Theft? Please. We are her family. The lawyer already explained everything. With these documents signed, we'll have access to her account as family financial advisors. It's completely legal. We just need her signature. And if she doesn't sign..." Sarah pointed to the vial on the table. "That's why we have this. Dr. Harrison got me the perfect dose. It's not a strong drug, nothing dangerous. It'll just put her in a state of suggestion. She'll be conscious, able to walk and talk, but her willpower will be weak. She'll sign whatever we put in front of her. By tomorrow, when the effect wears off, it'll be too late. The money will be in motion." "What if she realizes afterwards?" Jake asked. "What if she sues us?" "With what money, sweetie?" Sarah smiled maliciously. "Once we move the money to the offshore accounts the lawyer prepared, recovering it will be nearly impossible. And by then, we'll be far away. I already have tickets to the Bahamas. A week later, Europe." Robert collapsed into a chair, defeated. He knew this was wrong, terribly wrong, but Sarah had been working on him for months, convincing him. "Think about our future," she'd say. "Think about everything we sacrificed for her. And the debt, always the debt. The loan sharks were already pressing. They owed money to dangerous people." "All right," he finally whispered. "But let's be clear, this is only to pay our debts. Nothing more." Sarah and Jake exchanged a glance. They both knew Robert was weak, manipulable. Once they had the money, nothing he said would matter. "Of course, honey," Sarah said, kissing her husband's forehead. "Just the debts." On the other side of the city, in a modest apartment in Brooklyn, Marcus Carter was shutting down his computer after a long workday. At 29 years old, Marcus was a civil engineer living a quiet life, far from the family drama that had marked his adolescence. Marcus was the son Robert had from his first marriage, before meeting Sarah. When Robert married Sarah, Marcus was barely 8 years old. From the beginning, Sarah had made it clear he wasn't welcome. Visits became increasingly sparse, increasingly tense. By the time Emily was born, Marcus had practically been erased from the family. Emily grew up hearing terrible things about him. "Your stepbrother is a deadbeat," Sarah would say. "He just wants your father's money. Be grateful he doesn't live with us." Emily, who barely knew him, learned to reject him, to see him as the villain of the family story. But Marcus never stopped caring for his father from a distance. And that's why, that very afternoon, his father had called him, desperate. The call had come 2 hours earlier. Robert, with a trembling voice, had told him everything. The plan, the drug, the documents. Marcus had listened in silence, feeling rage grow in his chest. Not for himself, but for Emily. His sister, whom he barely knew, was in danger. "Why are you telling me this, Dad?" Marcus had asked. "If you've already agreed to be part of it." Because I can't live with this," Robert had sobbed. "I'm a coward, Marcus. I always have been. That's why I lost you. That's why I'm doing this. But I can't let it happen without doing something. You're the only one who can help her. You know Emily hates me, right? That she won't even speak to me." "I know. But you're her brother. And I know you have a better heart than I do." The call had ended there. Marcus had stared at his phone for long minutes, debating what to do. He could simply let it happen. After all, Emily had never wanted anything to do with him. Why should he risk his peace for someone who despised him? But something inside wouldn't let him just forget about it. She was his sister. They shared blood, they shared a father. And she didn't deserve what they were going to do to her, regardless of how badly she treated him. Marcus grabbed his jacket and car keys. He couldn't go to the party. Sarah would never let him in. But there was another way. A more discreet way. The Magnolia Hall was splendid. Colored lights hung from the ceiling, tables were decorated with fresh flower centerpieces, and a jazz band played softly in one corner. Guests began arriving at 7 in the evening, all eager to celebrate Emily's success. She arrived radiant, on her parents' arms. The navy blue dress fit her perfectly, and her smile lit up the hall. College friends, co-workers who had flown in from California, neighbors from the neighborhood where she grew up. Everyone was there for her. "Emily. Congratulations, sweetheart." Her Aunt Carol hugged her tightly. "I always knew you'd go far. Even as a little girl, you were so smart." "Thanks, Aunt Carol. I'm so glad you're here." The first minutes were a whirlwind of hugs, congratulations, and photographs. Emily felt like she was floating. This was her moment. Everything she'd worked for was paying off. Sarah, meanwhile, was the perfect hostess. Smiling, attentive, making sure everyone had drinks and food. No one would have suspected that beneath that mask of proud mother hid a woman willing to betray her own daughter. Jake also played his part. The caring brother, joking with guests, bragging about his sister's accomplishments. "My little sis, the genius of the family," he'd say with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Robert was the only one who couldn't completely hide his anguish. He moved through the hall like a ghost, with a glass of whiskey in hand that he kept refilling. Every time he looked at Emily, a pang of guilt pierced his chest. At 8 o'clock, after the official toast, Sarah approached the bar where the server was preparing drinks. "Is what I asked for ready?" she whispered. The server, a man in his 40s with a nervous look, nodded. "Yes. The special glass for Miss Emily. When should I serve it?" "In 30 minutes. Right before they cut the cake. And make sure she's the one who takes it." "Understood." "Understood." Sarah slipped him an envelope with cash. The server quickly tucked it into his apron and returned to his work. The plan was in motion. It was 8:25 p.m. when Emily's phone vibrated in her purse. She was chatting with a college friend when she felt the vibration. Normally she wouldn't check her phone at a moment like this, but something made her take it out. A message from an unknown number. "Emily, it's Marcus. I know you don't want anything to do with me, but your life is in danger. Do not drink anything they offer you tonight. Please, Trust me this once. Your family is planning something terrible." Emily frowned. Marcus? Her stepbrother she hadn't seen in years? She felt a wave of irritation. How dare he ruin her night with ridiculous messages? She put the phone away without responding and returned to her conversation. But the message kept echoing in her mind. Your family is planning something terrible. Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. 5 minutes later, another message. Emily, please. This isn't a joke. They're going to drug your drink. They have documents prepared to steal your money. Dad told me everything. Leave the hall discreetly. Do not drink anything. This time, Emily felt a chill. She looked around the hall. Her mother was near the bar, talking to the server. Jake was with a group of cousins, laughing loudly. Her father was sitting alone at a table, his gaze lost. Could it be true? No. It was impossible. Marcus had always been trouble, resentful. Sarah had told her how he tried to manipulate Robert to get money. This message was just another attempt to cause problems. But what if it wasn't? Emily excused herself from her friend and walked to the bathroom. She needed a moment to think. In the bathroom mirror, she stared at herself intently. Could her family really be capable of something like this? Her mother could be controlling, yes. And lately she'd been very insistent that Emily invest the money in family businesses. But from there to drugging her. Another message. I know you have no reason to believe me. I know you think I'm the bad guy in the story. But think, why would I risk contacting you after years if it weren't true? I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just asking you not to drink anything. If I'm lying, you'll have only refused a drink. If I'm telling the truth, I'll have saved your life. Emily read the message once, twice, 3 times. There was something in the message's logic she couldn't ignore. Marcus was right. Why would he contact her if it weren't true? What would he gain? She made a decision. She wouldn't drink anything else that night. Just as a precaution. Marcus was probably crazy, but better safe than sorry. When she left the bathroom, the server was waiting for her with a champagne glass on a tray. Miss Emily, your mother sends this. She says it's special for you, for the cake toast. Emily looked at the glass. It looked normal. Golden champagne bubbling in a crystal glass. The server was smiling at her, but there was something nervous in his smile. Thanks, I'll take it later, Emily said, trying to pass by. But miss, they're about to cut the cake. Your mother insisted you take this specific glass. Emily's heart began to beat faster. Why was he insisting so much? Why a specific glass? I said I'll take it later, she responded more firmly, and walked quickly back to the main hall. The server stood there, with the glass in hand, clearly confused about what to do. Sarah had seen everything from the other side of the hall. She saw how Emily refused the glass, how she walked back with quick steps. Something wasn't going according to plan. She approached Emily with a rehearsed smile. Honey, why didn't you take the glass I sent you? It's special champagne. I bought it just for you. I'm not thirsty, Mom. Thanks. But sweetheart, it's your party. Everyone's going to toast when they cut the cake. You can't be the only one without a glass. I said I'm not thirsty. Emily felt irritation growing in her voice. Sarah noticed the change in her daughter's tone. Something was wrong. She looked around and saw Jake talking with the lawyer they'd hired. The documents were ready. The witnesses, cousins bought with money, were ready. They just needed Emily to drink that damn glass. Emily Carter. Sarah used her authoritative mother voice. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you're being very rude. Accept the glass. Now. That's an order. For the first time in her life, Emily saw her mother with clarity. She saw the desperation in her eyes, the tension in her jaw. And in that moment, she knew Marcus had told the truth. No, she said simply. What do you mean no? I'm not going to drink that glass, Mom. And I think it's time for me to leave. Sarah grabbed her arm forcefully. You're not going anywhere. This is your party. You have guests. What will they think? Let me go. Not until you tell me what the hell is wrong with you. At that moment, Emily's phone vibrated again. Without letting go of her mother's grip, she checked it with her other hand. If you need to leave, tell them you got called from work. Emergency. I'll be outside waiting for you. Grey car, license plate 7JKL 394. Trust me, sister. Sister. Marcus had called her sister. Emily took a breath and looked directly into Sarah's eyes. I just got called from work. Server emergency. I have to leave now. That's ridiculous. It's Saturday night. Servers don't know what day it is, Mom. I have to go. She broke free from Sarah's grip and walked toward the exit. Her mother followed, now openly furious. If you walk out that door, don't come back. Emily stopped and turned around. Her father was now standing, watching the scene. Jake had also approached, with the lawyer at his side. Several guests were starting to notice the conflict. Really, Mom? You're going to make a scene about this? It's not a scene, it's that you. Sarah searched for words, but desperation betrayed her. Jake intervened, trying to sound casual. Emily, don't be dramatic. Stay a little longer. We haven't even cut the cake yet. The cake can wait. But the documents can't, Jake blurted out without thinking. Silence. Emily stared at him. What documents? Jake paled, realizing his mistake. Sarah closed her eyes, knowing everything was lost. The documents for the hall, Jake tried to improvise. To pay for the hall. And why can't those documents wait? No one answered. At that moment, Robert approached. He had tears in his eyes. Leave, Emily, he said with a broken voice. Leave now. And forgive me. Please, forgive me. Emily looked at her father, then at her mother, then at her brother. Everything fit together. Marcus's messages. The insistence with the glass. The documents. Her mother's desperation. Without another word, she left the hall. She could hear Sarah shouting behind her, but she didn't turn around. She walked down the hallway, descended the stairs, crossed the lobby, and went out to the street. Outside, under the streetlights, was the grey car. License plate 7JKL 394. Marcus got out of the car. Did you bring the glass? Were his first words. Emily blinked, confused. What? The glass. Do you have it with you? We need to analyze it. It's the only proof. Emily shook her head. I didn't take it. I refused it. Marcus cursed under his breath. Okay. The important thing is you're safe. Get in the car. Emily didn't move. Why should I trust you? Marcus looked into her eyes. In the dim streetlight, Emily could see weariness in his face, but also determination. You shouldn't, he admitted. You've been lied to about me your whole life. They've made you believe I'm a villain. But tonight, your villain saved your life. Now you can stay here waiting for them to come looking for you, or you can get in the car and let me explain everything. Emily looked toward the building. She could see movement in the second-floor windows. Soon someone would come down. She made a decision. She opened the passenger door and got in the car. Drive, she said. Marcus smiled for the first time all night and started the engine. The car disappeared into the New York night. Marcus drove in silence for the first 10 minutes. Emily stared out the window, trying to process everything that had happened. Her mind was a whirlwind of emotions: confusion, betrayal, anger, fear. Where are we going? She finally asked. Somewhere safe. My apartment. There we can talk calmly. What if I call the police? You should call them. But not against me. Against them. Emily took out her phone. She had 47 missed calls. 23 from her mother, 15 from Jake, 9 from her father. No voicemails. Just increasingly desperate text messages. Where are you? Emily, come back immediately. Honey, please come back. We can talk. You're so ungrateful. You'll regret this. The last message was from her father. I'm sorry. Emily turned off her phone. Tell me everything, she said. From the beginning. And Marcus did. He told her about the desperate call from Robert that afternoon. About the plan to drug her with something that would leave her suggestible but conscious. About the documents the lawyer had prepared. About the offshore accounts. About the tickets to the Bahamas and then to Europe. And how do you know all this? Emily asked, still skeptical. Dad called me. He was drunk and scared. His conscience wouldn't leave him alone. He told me everything, crying. He begged me to help you. And why would you do it? According to my mom, you only want money from the family. Marcus laughed bitterly. She told you that? Emily, I've never wanted a penny from that family. When Dad married Sarah, she made it very clear I was in the way. I was 8 years old. Do you know what it's like to be 8 and be told you're no longer part of the family? I didn't know. Of course you didn't know. Because Sarah made sure you never knew. They raised you to hate me, making you believe I was the problem. That I was the one causing conflicts. But the truth is I simply didn't fit into the perfect new family she wanted to build. Then why are you helping me now? Marcus stopped at a red light and looked at her. Because you're my sister. Because we share blood. And because no one, not even someone who has hated me without knowing me, deserves to be betrayed by their own family that way. The light changed to green. Marcus returned his attention to the road. Emily felt tears burning in her eyes. Her entire world had collapsed in a matter of hours. Her family, the people she trusted most, had planned to rob her. And the man they had taught her to hate turned out to be the only one who cared about her. I'm sorry, she whispered. Why are you apologizing? For hating you without knowing you. For believing all their lies. For... Hey! Marcus extended a hand and squeezed her shoulder gently. You don't have to apologize. You were a child. You were manipulated. That's not your fault. They arrived at Marcus's apartment 20 minutes later. It was a modest but cozy place. Books on the shelves, plants in the windows, travel photographs on the walls. Sit down, Marcus said. Want coffee? Water? Water, please. Marcus brought 2 glasses of water and sat across from her. Now we have to decide what to do, he said. Unfortunately, without the glasses' evidence, it's going to be hard to prove they tried to drug you. But we can go to the police anyway. Dad could testify. Would he? I don't know. He's scared. Sarah has a lot of control over him. Emily drank water, thinking. Her engineering mind began to work. Do you know where they got the drug? Dad mentioned something about a Dr. Harrison. And the server? Do you think he'd talk? If you pay him, maybe. Then we need proof. We need solid evidence of their intentions. How? Emily took her laptop out of her bag. She always carried it with her, a programmer's habit. I have remote access to all my bank accounts. I can see if they've tried to access them. I can also check if they've downloaded or scanned documents from my home computer. I left a monitoring program running. While Emily worked, Marcus watched with admiration. This sister he barely knew was brilliant, determined, strong. After 30 minutes, Emily looked up from the screen. They've tried to access my account 3 times in the last hour. Using an old password only my mother knew. That's evidence of intent. But they haven't taken anything from me yet. And without the glass. At that moment, Marcus's phone rang. It was Robert. It's Dad. Answer on speaker. Marcus answered. Dad. Marcus, is she with you? Is Emily okay? She's fine, Dad. She's safe. A sob from the other end of the line. Thank God. Sarah's going crazy. She called the lawyer. They're talking about reporting you for kidnapping. Kidnapping? I saved her. I know, son. I know. That's why I'm calling you. You have to be careful. Sarah's capable of anything when she gets angry. Dad, Emily intervened. I need you to tell me the truth. About everything. I can't go to the police without solid evidence. There was a long silence. I can't, Emily. If I speak, Sarah will destroy me. She has documents of mine. She knows things. Are you more loyal to her than to me? Your own daughter. It's not that, it's just, I'm afraid. We are all afraid, Dad. But right now you have to choose. Are you going to continue being an accomplice to this, or are you going to do the right thing? Another long silence. And then, I have the glass. Emily and Marcus looked at each other in surprise. What? After you left, everything was chaos. Sarah was screaming, Jake calling the lawyer. No one was paying attention to me. I went to the bar, took the glass, and hid it in my jacket. It's here, in my hand, right now. Why did you take it? Because I knew it might be important. Because maybe this is my only chance to do something right in my life. Emily felt a spark of hope. Dad, I need you to keep that glass. Very carefully. Don't let anyone. Dad, I need you to keep that glass. Very carefully. Don't let anyone touch it. It's crucial evidence. What do you want me to do with it? Tomorrow morning, we'll meet at the private forensic lab on Madison Avenue. Dr. Chen is a friend of mine from college. He can analyze the contents without us having to involve the police yet. Okay, I'll do it. And Dad, thank you. I know this is hard for you. Robert sighed deeply. I should have done this years ago, sweetheart. I should have protected you from her from the beginning. Forgive me. The call ended. Emily and Marcus sat in silence for a moment. So, what do we do until tomorrow? Marcus asked. You stay here. It's safer. Sarah doesn't know where I live. Are you sure? I don't want to cause you trouble. Emily, Marcus smiled. You just discovered your family tried to drug and rob you. I think the trouble has already arrived. The least I can do is offer you my couch. For the first time all night, Emily smiled too. That night, Emily could barely sleep. She stayed on Marcus's couch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the ceiling. Her mind kept replaying the day's events. The fake smiles, the treacherous hugs, her mother's insistence with the glass. How had it come to this? How had the woman who raised her, who taught her to walk, who comforted her when she cried as a child, been capable of planning something so cruel? Money. It was all about money. At 3 a.m, Marcus came out of his bedroom. He found Emily awake, her gaze lost. Can't sleep? He asked, sitting on the chair across from her. I can't stop thinking. About everything. About how my life was a lie. It wasn't a lie. There were just parts you didn't know about. How did you bear it? Emily suddenly asked. How did you bear being rejected, being erased from the family? Marcus leaned back in the chair, looking at his hands. At first, I didn't bear it. I cried every night. I begged Dad to let me stay. But with time, I learned that family isn't always the people you share blood with. Family is the people you choose, who care for you, who are there when things get tough. And did you find that family? Yes. I have good friends. People who really know me and accept me. And now, maybe I have a sister too. Emily felt a lump in her throat. I'd like that. I'd like to really know you, without the lies in between. I'd like that too. They spent the next hour talking. Marcus told her about his life, his jobs, his travels. Emily told him about Silicon Valley, her startup, her dreams. And for the first time, she felt she had someone who really listened without ulterior motives. At 6 a.m, Robert called. I have the glass. When are we meeting? Dr. Chen opens his lab at 9. We'll meet there. Dr. Chen was a man in his 50s, balding, with thick glasses and an impeccable white lab coat. He had been Emily's professor in college and had always admired her brilliance. "Emily, so good to see you," he greeted her with a hug. "Though I wish it were under better circumstances. Your message this morning worried me." "Thanks for seeing us so early, Dr. Chen." "For you, anything. Where's the sample?" Robert entered the laboratory with the glass carefully wrapped in a plastic bag. He looked terrible, deep dark circles, wrinkled clothes, trembling hands. "Here it is," he said, handing it to Dr. Chen. The doctor examined it carefully. "Good. I'm going to do a complete analysis. It'll take about 2 hours. Can you wait?" "We'll wait as long as necessary," Emily responded. While the doctor worked in his laboratory, Emily, Marcus, and Robert waited in the reception area. The silence was uncomfortable. Robert couldn't look Emily in the eye. "Dad," Emily finally said, "I need you to tell me everything. From the beginning. Why did you agree to be part of this?" Robert covered his face with his hands. "We have debts, Emily. A lot of debts. Sarah, she has a gambling problem. Sports betting. For years she hid it, but the debts grew. We owe money to dangerous people. Loan sharks who don't take no for an answer. And you thought robbing me was the solution." "I didn't want to. I swear I didn't want to. But Sarah convinced me. She said you had so much money you'd never notice. That it was your obligation to help the family. I'm weak, Emily. I've always been. That's why I lost Marcus. That's why I almost lost you." Marcus, who had remained silent, finally spoke. "Dad, when are you going to learn to say no? How many more times will you let Sarah manipulate you?" "I know, son. I know. And this time will be different. This time I'm going to do the right thing, no matter what." 2 hours later, Dr. Chen came out of the laboratory with a folder in his hand. His expression was serious. "Emily, I need you to sit down." Emily's heart began to beat faster. "What did you find?" "In the glass, there was champagne, yes. But there was also midazolam." "What's that?" "It's a benzodiazepine, a drug used in medical procedures to sedate patients. In the right doses, it's safe. But the amount I found in this glass. Emily, if you had drunk this, it would have left you in a state of conscious sedation. You would have been awake, you could have talked and moved, but your judgment would have been severely compromised. Basically, you would have been vulnerable to suggestions." "Meaning I would have signed anything." "Exactly. And there's something more concerning. The dose was very high. Too high. If you had drunk the entire glass, you could have had serious respiratory problems. You could have died." The silence that followed was deafening. Robert began to cry openly. My God, what have we done?" Emily sat paralyzed. They hadn't just tried to rob her. They had put her life in real danger. "Doctor," Marcus said, "would this analysis serve as evidence in a trial?" "Absolutely. I have everything documented. Photos of the glass, the complete chemical analysis, the chain of custody. This is solid evidence of attempted poisoning." Emily took a deep breath. "Then it's time to go to the police." The complaint was filed that same afternoon at the district attorney's office. Emily delivered all the evidence: the laboratory analysis, the desperate text messages from her mother, the records of attempted access to her bank account, and Robert's testimony. Her father, with a trembling but determined voice, confessed everything before the prosecutor. The plan, the purchase of the drug, the hiring of the corrupt lawyer, the fake documents. Everything. "Are you aware, Mr. Carter, that by testifying against your wife you're also incriminating yourself?" the prosecutor asked. "I am. And I accept the consequences of my actions. But I can't keep living with this guilt. I'd rather go to prison than continue being an accomplice to this." The prosecutor assigned to the case, District Attorney Patricia Morrison, was a woman in her 40s, known for her toughness against family crimes. "Miss Carter, with this evidence I can issue arrest warrants for your mother and brother for attempted murder, fraud, and criminal conspiracy. Your father will also face charges, though his cooperation will be taken into account. How long will it take to arrest them? The warrants will be ready in 24 hours. I suggest you stay somewhere safe in the meantime. Your mother, based on your description, sounds like someone who could be dangerous if she feels cornered. Emily nodded. That night, she stayed again at Marcus's apartment. But this time she could sleep a little better. Not because the pain had diminished, but because at least the truth had come to light. The next day at 7 a.m, a police operation arrived at the house where Sarah and Jake lived. Emily had asked to be present. She needed to see it with her own eyes. When officers knocked on the door, it was Jake who opened. His face of confusion transformed into panic when he saw the patrol cars. What's happening? Jake Carter, you're under arrest for attempted murder and fraud. You have the right to remain silent. This is a mistake. I haven't done anything. Sarah appeared behind him. When she saw Emily standing next to the patrol cars, her face transformed into a mask of pure hatred. You, she screamed. You did this. Ungrateful. After everything I did for you. Everything you did for me. Emily approached, with Marcus at her side. Do you mean trying to drug and rob me? Or putting my life in danger with an overdose? That wasn't an overdose. Dr. Harrison said it was safe. You just confessed, said District Attorney Morrison, who was also present. Thanks for making our job easier. Sarah realized her mistake too late. Officers proceeded to arrest her as well. Sarah Carter, you're under arrest for attempted murder, fraud, and criminal conspiracy. No. This can't be happening. Robert, do something. But Robert wasn't there. He was at the prosecutor's office, signing his complete statement. As they handcuffed Sarah and Jake, the woman kept screaming. This is your fault, Emily. You've always been selfish. That money should belong to the family. That money is mine, Emily responded calmly. I earned it. I worked for it. And you had no right to it. You'll regret this. When I get out of here, you'll regret it. Officers finally managed to get Sarah into the patrol car. Jake went in another, silent, his gaze lost. His carefully planned life had crumbled in a matter of hours. As the patrol cars drove away, Emily felt an enormous weight lift from her shoulders. It wasn't happiness she felt. It was relief mixed with sadness. The family she knew had ceased to exist. But perhaps, that wasn't so bad. The trial was quick. The evidence was overwhelming. Dr. Harrison, the doctor who had provided the midazolam, was arrested and testified against Sarah in exchange for a reduced sentence. The server also cooperated, confessing that Sarah had paid him $5,000 to put the drug in Emily's glass. Sarah was sentenced to 12 years in prison for attempted murder and fraud. Jake received 8 years as an accomplice. The corrupt lawyer who had prepared the fake documents was also arrested and lost his license. Robert, thanks to his complete cooperation and testimony, received a sentence of 3 years, but with the possibility of serving it under house arrest due to his age and health condition. Emily had hired a good lawyer for him. Despite everything, he was still her father. During those months, Emily and Marcus became inseparable. She helped him expand his civil engineering business, investing in his company. He helped her heal emotionally, introducing her to his friends, showing her that true family is the one you choose. One Saturday afternoon, Emily visited her father at his house. Robert had aged 10 years in 6 months. The weight of guilt had consumed him. "Honey," he said when he saw her. "Thanks for coming. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness." "No, you don't deserve it," Emily responded, sitting across from him. "But I'm going to give it to you anyway. Not for you. For me. Because holding on to resentment would only hurt me." Robert began to cry. "I don't know how to thank you. You've been more generous than I deserve. Dad, I want you to use these 3 years to think. To understand why you always chose Sarah over your children. Over Marcus. Over me. When you get out of here, if you've really changed, we can try to rebuild something. But it has to be different. It will be. I promise you. And one more thing, Marcus is part of this family now. If you want to be in my life, you'll have to accept him. No favoritism. No exclusions. We are siblings, and that's how you'll treat us. I will, honey. I will. 8 months after the incident, Emily and Marcus opened a foundation together called True Bonds. The foundation helped victims of family abuse and economic fraud, providing them with legal advice, psychological support, and, when necessary, financial help. Emily had discovered her true purpose. The money she had earned was no longer just for herself. It was a tool to help others going through situations similar to what she had experienced. The foundation's office was in a renovated loft in Manhattan, with large windows overlooking the city. Emily had hired a team of lawyers, psychologists, and social workers. Every day, they received calls from people who had been betrayed by their own families, who needed help to escape dangerous situations. One afternoon, while Emily was reviewing cases in her office, Marcus knocked on her door. "Got a minute?" he asked. "For you, always. What's up?" Marcus sat down across from her desk, with a folder in his hands. "I've been thinking about something. We've helped a lot of people in these months, but I think we can do more." "What do you have in mind?" "Educational programs. Prevention workshops. We could go to schools, universities, community centers. Teach people to recognize the warning signs of financial manipulation within families. How to protect themselves legally. How to set healthy boundaries." Emily's eyes lit up. "That's brilliant, Marcus. We could create an entire curriculum. Prevention videos, practical guides, free legal consultations." "Exactly. And we could train other professionals to replicate the model in other cities. Imagine if we could prevent what happened to you from happening to others." Emily stood up and walked to the window. From there, she could see all of Manhattan stretched out before her. A year ago, she had been a naive girl celebrating her success, unaware that her own family was planning to destroy her. Now, she was a woman who had survived betrayal and was using her experience to help others. "Let's do it," she said, turning to Marcus. "Let's create the best prevention program this country has seen." Over the following weeks, they worked tirelessly. They hired education experts, created materials, designed workshops. The first pilot program launched in 3 New York high schools, teaching teenagers about financial independence, family manipulation, and legal rights. The response was overwhelming. Students, teachers, even parents thanked them for addressing a topic that was rarely discussed. Many young people approached them after workshops, sharing their own stories of family financial abuse. 1 year after the party that changed everything, Emily received an unexpected visit at the foundation's office. The receptionist called her. "Emily, there's someone here to see you. She says she's your Aunt Carol." Emily was surprised. Aunt Carol had been at the party that night but had disappeared after the arrests. Like many family members, she hadn't known what to say, how to react. "Send her in." Aunt Carol entered the office nervously. She was a woman in her 60s, with kind eyes and grey hair. She had always been Emily's favorite aunt when she was little. "Emily, honey," Carol began, her voice breaking. "I don't even know where to start. I'm so sorry. I had no idea what Sarah was planning. If I had known." "I know, Aunt Carol. Sit down, please." Carol sat down, clutching her purse tightly. "I've wanted to call you so many times this year. But I didn't know if you'd want to see me. If you'd blame me for not realizing what was happening." "I don't blame you. No one knew. Sarah was very good at hiding her true nature. I visited your father last week. He told me about everything you've done for him. The lawyer you hired, how you've forgiven him. Emily, you're an amazing person." Emily smiled sadly. "I'm not amazing. I'm just someone who learned that hate consumes you more than it hurts the other person." "And Marcus? I heard you two are working together now. I always felt bad about how Sarah treated that boy. Marcus saved my life. He's the best brother I could have asked for." Carol wiped away a tear. "Your grandmother would be so proud of you. She always said you had a special heart." They talked for over an hour. Carol told her how the family had fractured after the scandal. How some relatives blamed Emily for destroying the family, while others understood that she had only defended herself. How Sarah's trial had revealed other debts, other lies that no one knew about. "The family will never be the same," Carol said. "But maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe we needed this to see the truth." Before leaving, Carol hugged Emily tightly. "If you ever need anything, family who really loves you, I'm here. And I'd love to meet Marcus properly. Invite him to dinner at my house sometime." "I will, Aunt Carol. Thank you for coming." After Carol left, Emily sat at her desk, reflecting. Not all family was toxic. There were people like Carol, like her father, despite his mistakes, who genuinely loved her. The key was learning to distinguish between those who deserved her trust and those who didn't. 15 months after the arrest, Emily decided to visit Sarah in prison. It was something she had been putting off, but her therapist had suggested it might give her closure. The women's prison was 2 hours from New York. Marcus offered to go with her, but Emily insisted on going alone. This was something she needed to do by herself. The visiting room was cold and impersonal. Grey walls, metal tables, guards watching every movement. When Sarah entered, Emily barely recognized her. Her mother had lost weight, her hair was completely grey, and her eyes had lost that spark of cunning they once had. They sat across from each other in silence for several seconds. "I didn't think you'd come," Sarah finally said. "I didn't think I would either." "Did you come to gloat? To see me destroyed?" "No, Mom. I came for answers." Sarah laughed bitterly. "Answers? What answers do you want? You already know everything. You destroyed my life, put me in prison, turned my husband against me." "I didn't destroy your life. You did that yourself when you decided to drug and rob me." "It wasn't robbery. It was securing our family's future. But you were always so selfish, so focused on your own success, that you never thought about us." Emily took a deep breath, keeping her composure. "Did you ever love me? Even a little?" The question seemed to disarm Sarah. For the first time, her defensive mask cracked a bit. "Of course I loved you. I raised you, didn't I? I fed you, clothed you, took you to school." "That's not love, Mom. That's obligation. Love is wanting the best for someone, even when it doesn't benefit you. Love is protecting someone, not trying to destroy them for money." "You don't understand. You've never understood what it's like to struggle, to have debts, to feel like you're drowning." "Then you should have asked for help. You should have been honest. But instead, you chose to betray me in the cruelest way possible." Sarah looked down at the table. "I thought you'd never find out. I thought it would be quick, simple. We'd take the money, solve our problems, and everything would go back to normal." "Nothing would have been normal. You would have stolen my future. And possibly killed me with that overdose." "Dr. Harrison said it was safe." "It wasn't safe. The forensic analysis proved it. If I had drunk that entire glass, I could have died. And you would have had my blood on your hands." For the first time, Sarah seemed genuinely affected. A tear rolled down her cheek. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it was that dangerous." "That doesn't change what you tried to do." Emily stood up, ready to leave. "Wait," Sarah said. "Are you ever going to forgive me?" Emily looked at her mother for a long moment. "I already forgave you, Mom. Not because you deserve it. But because I needed to free myself from this hate to move forward. But forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean having a relationship with you. When you get out of here in 11 years, I hope you've found peace. But I won't be waiting for you. Emily, please. Goodbye, Mom." Emily walked out of the visiting room without looking back. As she drove back to New York, she felt an enormous sense of relief. That chapter of her life was finally closed. 2 years after the mysterious message that changed her life, Emily stood on a stage in front of 500 people. It was the annual gala of the True Bonds Foundation, celebrating 2 years of helping victims of family financial abuse. Marcus was next to her on stage, impeccably dressed in a suit. Together, they had helped over 3,000 people recover from family fraud, had launched prevention programs in 15 states, and had changed laws to better protect victims. 2 years ago, Emily began, her voice firm and clear. I was a naive woman who believed family was everything. I believed that blood bonds were unbreakable, that my family would always want the best for me. I was wrong. The audience listened in silence. The night of my party, when I received that mysterious message from my estranged brother, my life changed forever. I discovered that the family I knew was a lie. That the people I trusted most were planning to betray me in the most cruel way. Emily paused, looking at Marcus. But I also discovered something beautiful. I discovered that true family isn't the one you're born into. True family is the one that loves you unconditionally, that protects you when you're in danger, that supports you when everyone else abandons you. My brother Marcus, whom I had been taught to hate, saved my life. And in doing so, gave me the greatest gift, a true family. The audience applauded. Many had tears in their eyes. Marcus took the microphone. Emily asked me why I helped her that night, when she had never been kind to me. And the answer is simple. Because that's what family does. Real family doesn't keep score. Doesn't hold grudges. Doesn't abandon you when things get tough. After the gala, Emily and Marcus went to dinner at their favorite Italian restaurant in Little Italy. It had become their tradition after important events. Can you believe it's been 2 years? Emily asked, twirling spaghetti on her fork. Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Other times it feels like it was another life. Do you ever regret it? Getting involved in my mess? Marcus smiled. Not for a second. You know what? That night I saved you, I also saved myself. I had resigned myself to never having a real family again. To always being the rejected brother. And then, suddenly, I had a sister who saw me for who I really am. Well, technically you are still the rejected brother. Just not by me. They both laughed. Emily's phone vibrated. It was a message from her father. Congratulations on the gala, honey. I watched it online. I'm so proud of you and Marcus. You two are proof that love can overcome any betrayal. I love you. Emily showed Marcus the message. He's changed, Marcus said. I visited him last week. He's genuinely different. More humble. More aware. His house arrest ends in 3 months. He wants to have dinner together. The 3 of us. And what do you think? I think I'm willing to try. He's not the same man who let Sarah manipulate him. And we all deserve a second chance. After dinner, as they walked through the illuminated streets of New York, Emily reflected on how much her life had changed. She had lost a false family but gained a true one. She had lost her innocence but gained wisdom. And above all, she had gained a purpose, helping others avoid what she had experienced. Marcus, she said suddenly. Thank you. For what? For that mysterious message. For believing in me when I didn't even believe in you. For being the brother I didn't know I needed. Marcus hugged her. You don't have to thank me. That's what brothers are for. That night, as Emily lay in her apartment overlooking Central Park, she thought about that party 2 years ago. About the mysterious message that had saved her life. About everything she had lost and everything she had gained. And she knew that, despite all the pain, despite all the tears, she was exactly where she needed to be. With her true family. With her brother. At peace. And ready for whatever the future held.